What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Sactown Sports Kings recap. That's what I like, Kingpin. Set the tone, turn on the Jets. That's what the Kings did tonight. You love to see the Sacramento Kings taking it to the old bitter rival Los Angeles Lakers on national TV. There are few joys that are greater in this world than seeing your team perform like that on a night where they're on the biggest stage that they can be on. So a what a great great night this is as the Kings just continue to look better after a really shaky middle part of the season where the last road trip we saw this team go on, those two games in Houston, are outliers on this season. Hopefully at this point, where they lost themselves and they've been slowly, progressively getting better and better game by game, and ever since De'Aaron Fox has come back, this is now his second game coming back from that ankle injury. They look like a brand new team. It looks like the puzzle is all together, and they look so great. Shooting from the perimeter looks effortless for guys that were just really struggling to start the year. And of course, I'm talking about Kevin Herter, who had a fantastic night tonight. Kevin just is clearly out of his slump. I think we can officially say that. I think we can officially quiet all the talk about Kevin Herter going to the bench. It was a really big talking point at the start of the season. Kevin Herter tonight, 28 points, 7 assists, 6 of 11 from the perimeter, and a theme from tonight. You can see it in the little ticker down here. Season high 20 steals. I cannot figure out the last time. I'm going to do some research here on Basketball Reference to see when the last time a Kings team had 20 steals in a night. Last season, their highest steal total was that double overtime game against the Clippers. They had 18. So that should kind of put into frame how many steals they had tonight. Again, 20 tonight. They had 16 the season high before that. I mean, I'll look it up after we're done here. But what an insane night in terms of just being disruptive defensively. I think that's the biggest thing from tonight that I took away is the Kings defense is clearly taking steps, and that was the biggest thing coming into this season that everyone was hoping would be different is the defense. And clearly Mike Brown has continued to harp on that, and I think we're finally seeing that his message is getting through to this team, because it's just it's every single night since, again, kind of those Houston games. They bring a defensive effort that wasn't there last year. And the Lakers, you look at the percentages: 51%, 38% from three. They shot the ball well, but the Kings did a great job again of just being disruptive. The amount of deflections tonight was ridiculous. I can't wait to see those numbers tomorrow, because with 20 steals, that's you're playing all the passing lanes. Again, you're getting hands everywhere, and you're just making life difficult for a team that should be doing that to you, really. I mean, when you look at the personnel of the Lakers, it's a much that's the first mic cut of the afternoon. Um, that's one of those things where the Lakers usually do is with their length. You would think they would be the ones causing a lot of issues, but Kings did a great job tonight of really just setting the tone defensively, and that's not something that we've been able to say about this team. So that's fantastic that they're making strides in that direction, because ultimately we saw the offense is clearly able to produce points when they're fully healthy. But if they can defend, that's how this team turns a first round exit into playoff success. So that's great that they're starting to do that. I cannot believe that Anthony Davis tonight. Someone just put it in the chat. I'm not gonna go as far as to say Anthony Davis sucks and he's a bad player, but I'm going to use this opportunity to more commend the Kings for being able to slow down a guy like AD to only produce 9 points on 3 of 9 from the field.
that's incredible. I would never have guessed that the Kings would have been able to put together a game plan that could slow down AD. Just because they don't really have a lot of size, you wouldn't think Domantas Sabonis would match up well against Anthony Davis, but I think we're learning that he definitely does. He's just, I mean, when he first came to Sacramento, the Ox nickname definitely stuck out early, and he does play like that. He's incredibly strong, and I think AD just kind of, he might be a little show muscly. He might just not have a lot of functional strength. When AD first came into the league, he was a lot like Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama. He was a skinny kid that people asked, could he put the weight on? And he's definitely done a good job of building out his body. But it's a little bit different to be functionally strong than lifting weights. And for anybody who played football or anything like that, it's those people who when you play those rural teams where those people were growing up on farms and stuff, and you just understand that you get a different level of strength when you're just a naturally strong person. And yeah, I just think that Sabonis is just one of those guys he's a bull, and AD just can't deal with him physically. I saw a stat before this game heading into tonight. Sabonis was 7-0 in his career head-to-head against Anthony Davis. He now moves to 8-0. That's clearly something. That clearly means that Sabonis has been able to, for the most part, not be killed in that matchup to the point where it cost his team a game. So that's a great sign for if this team meets up in the playoffs, because that's going to be one of the first places people are going to look is, oh my gosh, Anthony Davis is going to kill Domantas Sabonis. He's so much taller and faster, and there's no way Sabonis could stay in front of him. And AD is just so long, and Sabonis can't jump over him, so it's going to be tough. It's these. I think rightfully so. I probably would say the same thing, frankly. As a talking head myself, but I think we're seeing that in reality, Sabonis just has no issue with him. And again, that's a really good sign for if these teams are possibly going to meet in a playoff series in the future. Just that we don't have to worry about that. Clearly, Sabonis has no issue going against Anthony Davis. 29, 16, and 7, y'all. What are we talking about? That's crazy. That is crazy. There's not many people in this league that could put up a stat line like that. I also didn't even mention the 3 steals and a block as well. And y'all, for anyone who's new, thank you for joining us. But after every single one of these Kings games, I swear I'm talking about Domantas Sabonis at the free throw line. Granted, he only took 2 free throws, but he made them both. So what a game. What a game for Sabonis. Yeah. Shurcake said, now say Anthony Davis' stat line. Let's do that. 9 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist on 3 of 9 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. He did have 4 blocks. Shout out AD. That's always going to be a problem with him. Lakers came into tonight averaging the most blocks in the league at 6.5 or 6.9. So obviously AD is a massive part of that. 5 turnovers, though. 5 turnovers, 4 fouls for AD. That's a rough night. I don't think he had a single offensive rebound either. So all of those are defensive rebounds, not a single offensive rebound from AD. Not that the Lakers didn't have a couple really, really good offensive rebounds. I thought at the time they were really backbreaking. A couple of those were in the first quarter, but fantastic job. And yeah, I saw Manny. Shout out Manny. This is I almost don't even need to do that part of the show tonight because 3 stars are going to go to Domantas Sabonis, everybody. But the beam is lit, y'all. How incredible. Things you love to see on a Wednesday against the Lakers on national television, y'all. Fantastic. What a performance. Just really good to see the shots fall too. Of course, the beginning of this season, and more specifically when De'Aaron was out, Keegan and Kevin were both struggling to knock down perimeter jump shots. The fact that they hit 16 threes today, HB, I thought, did a good job of staying active for the most part. Kevin Huerter had 6 threes tonight. And, just just great. I mean, I think this is the best example of Kings basketball we've seen over these past 2 games. This is like the model of what they want to play for throughout this season. This is the recipe, I think, for them ultimately winning games. This is how they played a lot of last year. It's just kind of, again, score a ton of points, put a lot of pressure on the other team to keep up with your pace, more specifically your scoring pace, and a lot of teams just can't keep up. They don't have enough firepower to keep up with them, and I think we saw that in the third quarter. LeBron had to exude way more effort than he definitely wanted to in that first half when he had 19 points, I think, in that first half. That's not what LeBron James wants to do on a Wednesday in year 21. After, I think if I'm not mistaken, he sat out the Lakers last game, or the game before that or something like that. So he's trying to coast. And the fact that he had 19 points in that first half definitely told me that LeBron's always got a great finger on the pulse for his team. And I think LeBron could kind of feel like, oh, nobody has it tonight. And if I don't get this thing going now, this is going to be a complete blowout, because I can't believe I've talked for 10 minutes and haven't mentioned the fact that the Kings in that first quarter were just ridiculous. That was their second highest scoring quarter of the season. Shout out Hunter Patterson. I saw of The Athletic tweeted out that the 2 highest scoring quarters of this season have been against the Lakers. And again, mark that up under things you love to see. But I think that was really important. And Kevin Huerter talked about it after the game in his courtside interview with Kyle Draper and Morgan Reagan and Mike Bibby. But he said it was really important that they get off to a good start, because the Lakers were on the second night of a back-to-back, and the Kings wanted to put that pressure on them early, and they did a great job of that. 38 points in that first quarter. Did they finish every quarter with over 30? That was a staple of last year. 21 points in the fourth, but they kind of took the foot off the gas a little. That was fantastic. Just a great way to start that game, and it really set the tone. I don't think the Lakers led a single second of that game, if I'm not mistaken. So the Kings with another wire-to-wire win. I believe they also had a wire-to-wire win over Cleveland the other night. So again, this team is clearly on the other side of whatever was going on at the beginning of the year. That was a tough little stretch. But again, I think when you take a step back, when you're in the middle of the season, or especially at the beginning of the season, it feels like there's so much focus on the day-to-day, and sometimes it's really tough to kind of take a step back and be like, look, like clearly, the Kings, it felt like rock bottom there, but they quickly got out of it, and hopefully when we look back at the season, we just say, boy, wasn't that a weird moment in time, and they just kind of figured it out and never looked back from there. And I think that's going to be the case as long as they continue to hit their threes, because it's really apparent that I think it's because we saw what it looks like when you take away Kevin and Keegan shooting, but clearly when Kevin and Keegan are knocking down their shots, I think it's more just shots. I shouldn't say threes, because Kevin today did a great job at finding his little, that little runner, if you want to call it, that little mid-range jump shot that he takes. He did a great job of getting to that like 3 or 4 times tonight. And that's when I feel like his offense is really clicking, when he's got that counter punch almost to go with his 3-point shooting. That's when I think he's at his best. And as long as the Kings get something out of one of those 2 guys, and maybe at some point this season they can get it out of both of them, that's when the Kings are just a really tough team to beat. And when you have, the other night we had 4 guys score 20. Tonight we almost had 3 guys score 30. Just the firepower again for this offense and for this team it's crazy. It's insane. Let's see here. I might already start the 3-star segment. It did take me a while to get on. I should apologize. Normally, I like to get these things up and running immediately after the game, but today went over to Matt George's live stream. Shout out Locked On Kings podcast. Did a nice little live stream at Sackyard. Went over there for the first half. Knew I had to get home and do this. Kind of took some time. So took some time. So shout out Matt and shout out all the Kings fans who go out and watch games out in public. It was really cool, because I have to do these live streams, especially I did a couple last year as well. I don't get to go out much and watch the games at least. And it's really fun. Such a better environment to just, especially for road games, to watch at a sports bar or at any place where there's a collection of people watching the game. It's really fun. And I just miss that environment. It was really fun to get out there, even though the weather sucked tonight. I can't with this rain, y'all. I just cannot. And it really sucks. I don't know. Before I started the live stream, I looked out at the beam. You can barely see that thing. Normally, it's especially since they renovated the beam, if you will. I've been able to notice it really well from my house. But tonight, I looked outside, and because of how cloudy and gloomy it is, could only see like a little speck of it. So I feel like if this were the same beam as last year, I probably wouldn't have even seen it tonight. Manny, for sure. Keegan's 3 did look off tonight. I'm not too concerned. It definitely helps when Kevin's kind of masking all of Keegan's struggles with how well he's playing right now. But, excuse me, allergies are starting to get to me. Keegan just kind of looks a little bit off. And, he's clearly not completely out of his shooting slump. It was good to see him knock down some shots the other night, but I think like we're seeing with Kevin, like those things are so fluid. It's so up and down with shooters, even great shooters like Keegan. You're just going to kind of slump through portions, and he's figuring it out. I think he's going to be fine. I definitely think that a big part of it is his elevated defensive role. That man is. I don't even know. I mean, on a night like tonight, he didn't guard the other team's primary ball handler like he's been with Donovan Mitchell and with Steph Curry. But tonight he gave effort. It didn't matter who he was guarding. He was just trying to play really good defense no matter who he was on. So I definitely think that just the difference in stamina management. Think of it like a video game. If you're going to play really tough defense, that's going to bring your stamina bar down, and you're when your stamina bar is down, you're not going to hit as many shots because you're tired, you're not as fluid. Obviously, I don't really need to elaborate on that. But I definitely think that just the fact that he's playing defense and really focusing on playing defense hard the entire time he's out there, I definitely think on top of all the new responsibilities that he's being asked to have on offense, just putting the ball on the deck, attack the rim more. I think all that stuff going on in his head throughout the game, I think it's just a combination of everything. And it's really tough to be good at everything. It just is, we expect so much out of Keegan, but he's trying to kind of develop everything at a time, everything at once. I'm sorry, everything at once right now. And sometimes it's a lot easier to do one thing at a time. Austin Reeves, man, was really disappointing tonight. I was really caping Austin Reeves on the show earlier today. Austin Reeves made me a believer second half of last year. I really did. I watched the games. I watched the playoff games as well. I thought Austin Reeves was a legitimate guy. I think he needs the ball in his hands a lot more. I don't love how much the Lakers rely on D'Angelo Russell, but whatever. Not my problem to deal with. I'll take Austin Reeves struggling against the Kings every single time. He struggled the first time these two teams played. So I know he struggled a lot this season in general, but was just ultimately disappointed with how Reeves played tonight. Not that anybody in this Kings live stream wants to hear me say that I wish Austin Reeves played better. Thank you, Kingpin, for getting me back on track. Let's preview this next game on Friday. The Kings are staying in LA tonight, and then I assume we'll fly out tomorrow to San Antonio to play the San Antonio Spurs. in the in-season tournament game on Friday. Their second game, the Sacramento Kings' second game, that is, of the in-season tournament. They are tied for first right now with Minnesota, who is 2-0. So if the Kings can want to keep pace and in this group stage, it's really important to win your group, because there's only one other team in the entire Western Conference that will get the wild card spot. And so you're going to be fighting with, I think there's 3 groups. So you're going to be fighting with a couple other teams. Just a lot easier to win the group. So that'll be a big one for the Kings, just keeping pace. And then they're going to play the Timberwolves the following Friday as well. So those are going to be 2 really big in-season tournament games coming up. But it's going to be really exciting to get this first look at Wemby. I have no idea what the Kings are going to do to try and slow down Wemby. I would assume some JaVale McGee. We saw JaVale tonight, and he did a good job of really, making things not easy for the Lakers. He's from or had previously played in LA, so he kind of had a little bit of extra juice tonight. But I think JaVale's probably the best option lengthwise if you're going to try and go bar for bar with Wemby, if you will, and try and match height with height, or length with length, I guess, in this case. I would say JaVale's probably the best option the Kings have at the moment. But I also wonder if, kind of like what we saw tonight, if you think about it and you're like, oh, Anthony Davis, exactly. You would think, let's put somebody who's more of Anthony Davis's stature on Anthony Davis, and let's not let Sabonis match up with him. Maybe the Kings say, similar mindset, let's just put Sabonis on Wemby, and Wemby's not going to be able to physically stand with him. Sabonis is going to push him to like the 3rd row. Maybe that's the route to do, is just be really, really physical with him. And, you're going to have to accept the fact that, yeah, sometimes he's just going to shoot over you. That's his superpower. There's nothing you can really do about that. That's just what Wemby brings to the table. You got to accept those things. And you just really try and highlight his flaws instead of trying to eliminate his strengths. Highlight his flaws. And I think if you can do that, then San Antonio probably doesn't stand a chance, because that team really isn't very good. I like Devin Vassell. He's played really well this year. Malachi Branham's interesting to me. I'm still one of the biggest Trey Jones supporters out there. But they just really don't have many players, and definitely not enough depth to deal with this Kings team. Knock on wood, because Lord knows I will hop on this live stream on Friday and have to eat my words. So excited for Friday very excited for Wemby is the bigger point. Thank you, Kingman. Yeah, what are people feeling? Give me your road trip predictions before we do our 3 stars of the night. Give me your road trip predictions. This 6-game road trip. Obviously, Kings started 1-0. They take on, I know I just said it, San Antonio on Friday. I'm trying to remember the schedule off the top of my head. I really should know it. I've said it so many times now. San Antonio on Friday. Excuse me, guys. I should be much better at this. I'm sorry. San Antonio on Friday. Dallas on Sunday. New Orleans on Monday. New Orleans on Wednesday. Minnesota on Friday. I said 5-1 is what I think will happen. Obviously, I'll be totally fine with 4-2. Even 3-3, I can live with. Again, that kind of goes back to what I was just talking about, where you look back in the grand scheme of things, and 3-3 won't kill you. It won't be the best. You shouldn't be super excited with it, but I could understand if the Kings drop one of those 2 Pelicans games, if they lose to the Timberwolves, or if they lose to Dallas. Dallas has been off to a good start, though. I kind of believe that they've beaten some cupcakes this season. Dallas, it wouldn't surprise me if Dallas wins that game. So who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if the Kings go 2-4 either. So let's enjoy tonight and on to the next one, which I definitely feel like should be a victory, but we'll see. I'm saying I'm going to stick to 5-1 though. Feels very ambitious, but again, if this team is going to continue to hit its shots, I feel good about it. And I also feel like the one loss will probably – I just feel like the back-to-back in New Orleans, like it's tough to beat any team 2 straight games. And then when you throw in New Orleans and the food element of New Orleans and the fact that that first game that they're playing there is the second night of a back-to-back, feels like one of those New Orleans games is almost just guaranteed to be a loss. Yeah, Megan, I completely agree. Completely agree with this, Megan. Why wouldn't you just let Domas bully Wemby like he did to Chet? Fantastic point. And like he did to AD tonight. I definitely think that's probably the route they're going to go, and wouldn't surprise me if it's really successful, like it was against Chet, and like it was tonight against AD. So that's maybe it's really obvious actually. But it'll also be interesting to see how he's going to deal with that, because that's going to be the thing that everyone's going to go to, and how he eventually develops and tries to learn how to deal with that. That's going to ultimately be his ceiling, because when you're winning championships, or if your goal is to win championships, those are the kind of things that you just have to figure out, because teams will just abuse that in the playoffs. If the San Antonio Spurs get into any serious games this year, I think it would be really interesting to see what some of the better coaches in this league would do with trying to neutralize Wemby. I think that would be really interesting, just like a good litmus test of how good you are as a coach, because there's clearly some really clear and obvious flaws, but the dude is, just look at him. I mean, he presents a lot of issues. All right, let's move on to our 3 stars of the night. It's very easy to do tonight, or at least to figure out who the 3 stars will be consistent of. I just can't figure out what order to have them in. Obviously, as you can see in the ticker, Sabonis, Fox, and Kevin Huerter all just balled out. We're really close to having 3 guys drop 30 tonight. I'm going to give my first star to De'Aaron. It's almost because this isn't crazy for him. 28 it's not regular. It should never be taken for granted. I think we've learned that we should not take De'Aaron Fox's play for granted ever. But 28 points seemed effortless tonight. That wasn't his most efficient night, but on a night where you're playing, again, a team that leads the NBA in blocks, you can't be afraid to go at the rim. And De'Aaron will always establish that. He's never going to be afraid. And he really pressed the issue, and he, as we've learned, he sets the tone for this team. So De'Aaron with 28 tonight. This is him, by the way, coming back from injury. Like this is only his second game back from injury. And he's still he's warming up. He's walking out there. He's still getting into a rhythm. So 28 and 5, something light for De'Aaron. My 2 stars are going to go to Kevin Huerter. Kevin, unlike De'Aaron, this is definitely a really good performance from Kevin. He joked a lot last year about how in Atlanta they would say he's allergic to 30. Because I guess he had a couple 29-point games, a couple 28-point games. He finally got a 30-point game last year. So whenever he's hovering around it, that's clearly really, really good for him in just the roles that he's been asked to play throughout his career. So 28 points, 6 made threes, plus 21 in the plus or minus tonight. He was great. I mean, this is almost the evening back out of I know there's a better word than that. But this is like the earth and whatever spirits out there setting the world back even. Kevin was struggling so much at the beginning of this year to hit shots. You had to know that he was at some point going to look like the Kevin Huerter we had seen before, and those numbers were going to get back to normal. And since he was shooting so poorly, you knew that there was going to be some sort of coming back where it was going to be the other extreme. And I think we're seeing that right now with these past couple of games from Huerter. He's been crazy. And if he's got this, I mean, we forget. I mean, I can't believe I just said we forget. Excuse me, strike that from the record. We don't forget. People definitely have not forgotten that Kevin Huerter pretty MIA in that playoff series. This is the guy where if the Kings can have him going and added to the equation in a playoff series, we just didn't see that last year. That's where, again, this team can take a different level. Like, that's where this team is a problem to deal with, because they have so many different guys that are lethal on a given night. And last year in the playoffs they had De'Aaron and they had Malik, and that was really their most dangerous weapons. And Keegan definitely eventually became a little bit of a threat. But if they can add Kevin Huerter to the mix come playoff time, if they can get Keegan Murray to a point where he's going to be a factor in the playoffs. Is it too early to be talking playoffs, y'all? I'm sorry. What are we at now? Kings are 6-4. Are we at 10 games? Is that the 10-game mark, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my goodness, that was a 10-game mark. We're sitting at 10 games. Is it too early to talk playoffs? Excuse me, but bigger point is, Kevin Huerter playing well is great, and if he's really out of a slump and he can find some consistency throughout the season. Of course, it's not going to always look like this, but if he can just find some consistency, hit 3 to 4 threes on a given night, or consistently, I shouldn't say on a given night. If he can hit 3 to 4 threes consistently every night, that's how this team can go to a different level in the playoffs and be a different threat. And so, he's my 2 stars. My 3 stars are going to Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis. Bro, 29, 16 rebounds and 7 assists for Domas tonight. We were talking earlier about, I should say I feel like y'all are with me. But I was talking earlier tonight about how Sabonis just dominated AD completely. But just a man tonight. He was just physically a problem for LA that they had no answer to. LA's got a bunch of those really skinny, long big men. They got Christian Wood, they've got Anthony Davis, but they don't have anybody who's going to physically be able to stand with Sabonis. And it was good to see him be the aggressor tonight. And I definitely think it got into AD's head. And his stats in that first quarter were ridiculous. He had a double-double at halftime. I think it was he had like 19 and 12 at halftime or something like that. Just absolutely dominated the Lakers this entire game. And that's one of those things where that's a message that maybe they didn't send it to the entire league. Maybe it was on national TV, so maybe the nation did see it. But he let the Lakers know that if y'all are going to play the Kings, and more specifically, if you have to go against me, it's going to be a long night. You're going to need an ice bath tomorrow. So I hope you look forward to that. And that's something that frankly has been questioned about AD a lot, is his toughness. And Sabonis definitely tested his toughness tonight. And again, I would love to see these two teams in a playoff battle. I think it would be great for the rivalry to kind of be reinvigorated with a playoff series. We saw what the Warriors rivalry escalated to last year. I think you get some old, deep-rooted feelings brought back up with the Lakers in a playoff series. Oh my gosh, I would love it. I would love it, and I think if it's not clear, I would really like the Kings' chances in a series like that. So. Can't wait for these two teams to play again. Let me see when the next time that is. Actually, super curious. They do not play the Lakers actually for several months, not until March. Wow. Okay, so we will not see the Los Angeles Lakers again until March 6th. That's in LA. They will not be back in Golden One Center until March 13th. But Kings don't play the Lakers again until March. So it was fun. We'll take the 2 dubs and call it a day. Who knows what the Lakers will look like come March? Who knows? Last season at this point, they look like a completely different team than the team they finished with. Wouldn't surprise me if they're going to make some moves in the middle of this season, and again look like a completely different team when we see them later on in the year. So bye Lakers. Hopefully maybe we can see you in the playoffs, but that would probably require y'all to make it. So good luck with that journey. Lakers now also fall to 6-6, 500. And I believe that's in the play-in in the Western Conference, which is kind of starting to jumble up a little bit in that middle, in that play-in race. So good that the Kings are, again, much like they did last year, Kings are elevating above that play-in race. Just stay out of it. Stay out of the mess. We saw last year that 6 to 10 seed gets like 3 to 4 games separates them. You never know what random injuries are going to happen at the end of the year. You want to coast, so you just want to kind of be 4 to 5 games above that play-in race just to give yourself some cushion, because that's just not a fun roller coaster to ride. That 6 to 10 seed thing is just a nightmare. So good to see the Kings picking up some wins here, and it's not going to get any easier ahead. Again, a pretty easy game when it comes as far as the Western Conference is concerned, playing the San Antonio Spurs on Friday. But after that, going against the Mavericks, and then doing that New Orleans trip, and then rounding it out with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's going to be a long trip, but this was a great way to start it. You can check me out tomorrow from 10 to 2, Styles and Watkins, as we are every Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports 1140. You can check if you had fun tonight. Great turnout. Chad is always killing it. If you have fun tonight, if you enjoyed the program, we are live at the end of every single Sacramento Kings game right here on the Sactown Sports 1140 YouTube channel. Also, we are streaming on X as well. Styles was telling me that we might need to hop on Twitter Spaces as well. Let me know if you think that would be a something fun that people might enjoy. You can get a little bit more interactive. You can get your guys' takes on it. Definitely am intrigued by the idea, but kind of one of those things where it would be an extra thing to set up. It's not that big of a deal, but if I don't have to do it, I'm not going to do it. So if people would like that, definitely let us know. Put it in the comments of this video, or tune in after Friday's game and let me know in the chat. Bad weather outside, great thing to see Sacramento Kings win. So take the beam, look at it if you can. I know it's muggy outside, but when you beat the Lakers, it feels like the sun is shining. Again, as I said, will be live on Friday after this. Hope y'all enjoyed this game. Like the beam, go look at the beam if you can. And most importantly, I need to go eat dinner. So y'all have a fantastic night, and see you on Friday. Peace.